뿅.
Hi. This is my husband Bruce. You haven't seen him for a while.
Hey,
Did you notice any change?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He has a beard now. Hello, it's Jinger.
And Bruce.
뿅.
Why are you growing a beard?
I do that every year on November. It's to raise awareness for men's health issues, so I get to grow it for November, and then I have to shave it off. No shave November.
Well, anyway, he's a twin. Did you know that? And he's got a twin brother.
Mm-hmm.
When he grows a beard and wears glasses, he looks like his brother. And I don't like it.
Well, you're not the only one, because my brother also is married, and his wife doesn't like it when he shaves his beard, because he looks too much like me.
Mm-hmm. So do you like being twins?
Honestly, I don't know anything other than being a twin.
Okay. Can people distinguish between you two?
I don't know. It depends on who you ask. Most of the people we went to school with couldn't even tell us apart today. And actually, we grew up thinking we were fraternal twins until we were 38 and found out with that DNA test thing that, hey, guess what? You're identical twins. Really identical twins. So I have a twin. Spent 38 years being told we were fraternal twins, and then come to find out we're not fraternal twins. We're identical twins, and very identical twins.
뿅.
But you know, our close friends could actually tell us apart even just by voices on the phone.
Oh.
And some family says the way we walk is different.
Well, no, your family members are even confused.
Recently, there has been a bit of confusion.
Yeah.
This Thanksgiving, I went to took the family up to my brother's house for the get-together, and I went to go pick up my mom. And when I knocked on the door, she opened the door and said, "Are you kidding me? Bruce is coming to get me right now." And I'm like, "Mom, it's me."
By the way, his twin brother's name is Brian.
And she had to bring me inside to look at me like under the light, like, "Oh my God, how did I do that?" And then my dad made fun of her on our Christmas get-together. And then we all went out fishing with the kids, my brother, our dad, and our kids. And my dad looked straight at me and said, "Well, Bruce over there seems to be having a little bit different luck." And again, I'm like, "Dad, it's me." I don't know. Well, we won't let them forget that one.
Nope. And tell me about the sister-in-law. She was confused too.
Oh, right, my sister-in-law. Well, it seems to be a passing tradition. Each year someone new makes the mistake. We were here for Thanksgiving because it was November again, and we were getting ready to take the kids outside, and I was sitting in the recliner putting on my shoes, and my sister-in-law rounds the corner, says, "Babe," looking right at me, and I just... Now, to this day, she says, "You guys had the same shoes. That was it." I'm like, okay, whatever.
Not an excuse. So basically, I'm the only one who didn't get confused.
Yet.
Oh, it's not gonna happen.
Okay.
Have you ever taken advantage of being twins?
There was only one time we did it intentionally, and I won't mention any dates or anything because, you know, it was insurance fraud. But there was a time when I was working and my brother was not working, and he was undergoing a physical illness, and so he didn't have health insurance, but he needed to get checked by a doctor. So I said, "Come to my work. We'll change wallets that has all of our personal identification in it." And then he went to the doctor. They said, "Well, your blood pressure has come way down, but other than that," and that was the only distinguishing difference they could find, was his blood pressure was lower than mine. That's the only time. Every other time was unintentional.
What about like playing tricks on teachers or girlfriends?
No, I would not play a trick on my brother's girlfriend, nor would he play one on mine, because the thought of my brother with my girlfriend would infuriate me.
That's creepy.
Grade for teachers? No, I didn't really want to switch classes with him in school. I had the good grades. I mean, that'd be trading down. He'd be trading up. So I'm like, I'm good. I did forget about one trick we played at my place, my work.
Okay.
Well, there was one time where my brother came to see me, and he lives like an hour and a half away. So it's a big deal when he's in our neighborhood. So we went out to lunch, and then after lunch we went back to my office, and I said, hey, this would be really funny if you walk in there first and see what happens. So he walked in first to my office, and the front desk lady looked at him funny, and I think she was silent until I walked in, like, 10, 15 seconds later, and said, I'm like, how did you grow a beard over lunch? But I think that's the only time that we really played a trick on, intentionally.
Mm-hmm. All right, you told me that someone approached you and, like, very surprised.
Oh, yes, because since we live an hour and a half away, the idea that someone's going to recognize me as him, well, I thought that was kind of strange. So there were 2 times. The first time I was at my gym here in where we live, and there was a guy who trained at the gym where my brother goes, an hour and a half away, and he happened to be over here. And so he saw me at the gym, and he came up to talk to me. And I was just playing with the conversation because, hey, he's being friendly. And then he asked me some questions, and I'm like, do I know you or something? Because you act like you know me. And then it was like, oh, yes, I do have a twin brother. He lives up there. But recently, when I was visiting a school to see one of my clients, I came to send the client back to his classroom. And there was a man who was in the office with his wife and the baby, and he looked over and saw me come in and just goes, and I'm like, okay, creepy, that's enough. And I drop him off and I start to walk over, and he's like, and he said, is your name, he said my last name, and I'm like, well, yeah, I am. Like, do you have, yes, you must be talking about my twin brother, and I do have a twin brother. And he's like, we go to school together. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool, okay, good to meet you. And he's still going. So I had to tell my brother, and he said, yeah, that guy immediately texted me after to say he saw you and he was shocked. So yeah, I guess we look alike.
Very alike. So you think if people, if they didn't see your faces, and then do you think they can distinguish you guys by hearing voices, except your close friends?
When voice technology first came out on cell phones, he could activate my phone. But some people could tell the difference just by voice.
I can.
Yeah, okay, so some close people can tell the difference.
I'm your wife. I should, really.
I hope so.
Otherwise, it'd be big trouble. You told me that people ask you, like, questions about being a twin?
The strangest one was, if I punch him, will you feel it? I was shy back then, so I'd be just like, no. But today I'd be like, no, but you might.
That's ridiculous.
Well, there used to be some myths about twins, especially identical twins, that they would be connected psychically. Twins that were separated at birth, they'd be across the country from each other, one would suffer something, and self-report would say at the same time the twin on the other side of the country started to feel the same thing. So,
oh, right. You told me in the past that some girls liked your brother, so they came to you instead.
Oh, yes. Way to dig up some painful memories there. Most of the girls that I got close to in high school were friends with me to get to my brother. And here I'm like, hey, I'm a nice guy too. Some of them would try and date me because they thought I would be like him, but we're twins in appearance. We're not twins in mind and in heart. We're very different as night and day.
They're very different. I prefer him. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, hit like
and subscribe and turn your notifications on, and don't forget to ring the bell.
Bye.
Bye.
If you We are like islands in the sea. 사람은 바다 위에 있는 섬과 같다. Separate on the surface. 겉으로 봤을 때는 떨어져 있지만 but connected in the deep. 깊은 바닷속으로 들어가면 모든 땅이 연결되어 있는 것처럼. 윌리엄 제임스